All right, guys, listen up. Today we're going to break down less lethal weapons for home defense, which are effective tools to help you neutralize a threat without going full lethal kinetic. So if you're serious about fortifying your home, your dwelling, your kingdom, then this is the intel that you need to hear. So let's get into it. Why less lethal? Some people ask that, why not just use lethal force if someone's in your house? But less lethal weapons are a solid force multiplier. They're designed to incapacitate without lethal engagement. All right. They're mission critical for minimizing collateral damage while defending your AO, which is your area of operations, basically your house. Okay. So there are a lot of options out here, a lot of less lethal options you want to use if that's the route you want to take. Now, I will emphasize you should always have a backup. If you cannot own a firearm legally, then obviously that doesn't apply to you. But if you do own a firearm, you can obtain it. Always have a backup. Uh, Basically, this would be your first option. All right. Now, some of the options out there are OC spray, which is a potent irritant that targets the eyes and respiratory system, and it's compact and ideal for CQB, which is close quarters combat. Uh, that is effective, but you can have collateral damage if you're basically engaging in an enclosed space, such as a residential area or any enclosed space for that matter. You run the risk of innocents or yourself being affected by the chemicals, which is counterproductive. Okay. Then you have conductive energy weapons, which is CEWs. Essentially, they're tasers, which deliver an electrical arc that disrupts muscle control. Those are highly effective. You have models where probe deployment provides standoff capability, which is critical for engagement at range. Uh, you do have to be up close, so it may not be effective if someone is further away from you, but it is a great option if they're within close quarters of you. Okay, then you have less lethal munitions, which are basically rubber balls, bean bags fired from a 12 gauge platform, which deliver a kinetic impact designed to disable threats with minimized fatal risk. These here are a couple options itself. Uh, I will show you some more options in a minute. You have impact tools. Basically, they're batons or expandable batons, which are excellent for controlling an aggressor in confined spaces. You just remember to aim for large muscle groups to avoid unintentional escalation. Um, you also should train on any kind of weapon you have. You should train. You have audible deterrents, which are high decibel personal alarms, which create chaos in an attacker's OODA loop, which is basically your observe, orient, decide, and act, buying you valuable time to reposition yourself or engage. Those are effective. I've seen them in use. Uh, Basically, in a nutshell, even with those options right there, you want to train like you fight. You rehearse your defensive posture and weapons, handling them until it's muscle memory, which is why I always emphasize training. It has to become muscle memory, no matter what weapon you choose. Uh, Weapon staging does matter, which is ensure your gear is secure and rapidly accessible in real world contingencies. So, have one ready at hand for any kind of contingency, any kind of situation that may arise. And some of the weapons I'll show you in a minute, they're fully capable of giving you that option. And know your ROE, which is basically your rules of engagement. You have to understand your local laws, which is mission essential to ensure you operate within the legal parameters. You never know, maybe your county, your city, or your state or whatever might have some sort of legalities regarding less lethal, no matter which weapon you choose. So get an understanding, get a feel for it. Uh, Less lethal weapons do give you options when you need them, if that's the route you choose, and you master them. Okay, you basically train, Now, for the average person, maybe you don't have the time to do it, but I say make time. Okay. Now, besides these two and some of the other ones that I discussed, let me show you some other ones that I have that are very, very good options. And see which one that you think is the best for you. Here we have your 50 calibers, the HP 50, TR 50. Then you have 68 caliber, the TR 68, and this is your Pastel X 68. I didn't put the burner in here because I think the burner is better for open carry or everyday carry out in the field instead of your home. Now, when you're dealing with 50 calibers, I would advise having quality kinetic munitions for it and have a higher power. These are higher power. They're 11 and above because you're going to want that hit, specifically it being a smaller projectile. Pretty much the same thing with the 68 caliber inside your home. You want particularly between 7 to 10 grams of weight on your ordnance, and that's going to depend on which weapon you're using. The Pastel X68 right here with the extension should create about 50 and above joules. Now, on my last video, I did some shooting and demolished a TV. However, the chrono that I have is a cheap one, so I'm going to have to redo this. And instead of doing it in joules, I'm going to actually fire it in FPS and just see what the readings are, because I don't think it was very accurate. Put this on your nightstand. 8.5 grams coming at you at 50 joules. Believe me, the hostile's not going to want, he's going to want to retreat. Same thing with your TR68, 16 joules. Enough power to get the job done. Basically, you're wanting them to retreat anyway. So these are some of just a few of your handguns, your less lethal launchers. For those of you on YouTube think this is a weapon. Now, if you're looking for a longer weapon, I have a couple options here on hand. One, and this is one of my favorites, if you want to keep by your nightstand or whatnot. I personally have a weapon pretty much in every room. It drives my wife nuts. But I keep a weapon with an easy reach. And it's just something that it's been instilled in me. Now, this is perfect for your nightstand. This is the HDX 68. I did a review on this. Some of you know it, some of you don't. 68 caliber, two 12-gram CO2 cartridges, quick piercing, hit the butt of it. So in a pinch, hit. Now, just by the looks of it alone, if a hostile sees this, they're going to think twice. They're going to pause. But more importantly, in an ideal situation, if you hear some noise in your room and they hear this, they squeeze this. Sounds just like a 12 gauge, fully operational. They hear that, they're not going to know exactly what you're racking, okay? So optics alone, they're going to hear that, and it's a possibility they're going to flee. Yeah, high possibility. But obviously you're not going to bank your life on it. You're going to want to have the proper ordnance for this thing. And being that it holds 16 shots, you'll get the job done. Now, this particular model here is an 11 joule. Yes, it's ample for the task if that's all you got. But I am working on getting the new one, the P2P by Umarex. It actually has a fluorescent orange or light bright orange. That's rated at around 40 joules. I think is the best option is if you're going to go with the HDX, but that's a personal opinion of mine. Both of them will get the job done, but if I'm going to bet my life and my family's life on it, I'm going to want the most power for my buck. All right, gentlemen. And this is my favorite, but it is my wife's. So let me say it's her favorite. This is the Mission 4 by Berta. Two 19-round magazines, 88 to 90 grams CO2, rapid fire. Something like this by your nightstand, you can't go wrong. Now this is rated about 14 to 16 joules. Now my only gripe with this is that I wish it was around 20 and up. 20 joules to 40. Then I think it'd be perfect. However, with the proper ordnance, 16 joules would be good enough. Specifically if you're hitting them at rapid fire. So those are some of your options as far as guns. Now there's more out there. Some of you already know. You have the Saber. You have. I'm sorry, I left the Salt Supply S2 out. The Salt Supply S2 is a phenomenal option. That's 20 joules, a little bit above, obviously depending on what ordnance you're using. But ideally, you're going to want to choose the weapon that's going to give you the tactical advantage in your home. So you cannot go wrong with any of these. It's going to be a personal preference, and I'll mention it again. Train like you're fighting. Okay? Train like you're fighting. Get used to your weapon. Muscle memory. I personally, if I'm going to have home defense, I'm using 68 caliber. But if all you got is a 50 caliber, as long as it's 10 joules or above, 11 joules or above, it'll be effective. Now, let's talk about projectiles. As I said before, you could use kinetic or you could use chemical munitions. However, in an enclosed area, chemical munition is going to be overly effective. It's going to be considered overkill. It's going to be counterproductive to your defensive purposes. Specifically, once the projectile disperses chemicals in the air, not only is the hostile going to be affected, but everyone in the immediate area, because it's going to spread throughout your room, living room, wherever you engage the enemy. It's going to disperse. So, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be an ideal situation if both of you are on the ground, trying to get the stuff off you. So, if you're going to use any kind of chemical munitions, me personally, this is just my opinion, I'd go with liquid pepper gel, or that's what they call them, liquid pepper. This is 10% PAVA. If I got that wrong, leave me a comment. I'm sure I did. Now, this being liquid instead of powder form, the affected area is going to remain essentially on the hostile itself. All right? And not only is it going to be effective in that order, but the simple fact that human nature, once it disperses specifically around the facial area, because that's where you're going to want to aim, human nature, the first thing you're going to want to do is wipe it off. And when they do that, it's going to smear it. Okay? And it's just going to get more inside the pores, inside their glands, and obviously they're going to be out of commission. And here they are right here. Now, they're not made for anything 16 joules or above. At least I wouldn't chance it on that. This one here would be perfect for your lesser power options. Let's say you have the 10 joule. I'm going to go with 10 joules because I do not like 7 joules. That's paintball. But if you go with a 10 joule TR68, you could put these in there. Maybe the Burner SD. They're for your lower power weapons. Something in a higher capacity, it's just going to break open inside and it's going to be a mess, and that's not going to be something you want, specifically in the defensive situation. So these are some of your options right here, and they're all good. They're all viable. So ultimately, it's going to be up to your personal preference. I'll shoot another video regarding tactics of defending your home. We'll actually go over tactics that I'm accustomed to and that were highly effective. But this one here is just getting you acquainted with some of the weaponry you have as far as less lethal goes. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, if you want to see some more, hit the subscribe. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. Like the video, it helps me out. That'll help support me in a non-monetary way. So Take care, and you guys stay safe.